number 2 Menton Dam was built in 1939 and was completed in 1942. It was built by the Americans and the Australian soldiers. The Menton Dam has served as the city's main domestic water supply for over 60 years. And coming up to the right hand side, the train here is the original equipment from 1886. It's a train from 1886. The first bill was passed in South Australia to build for the commencement of the railway line from Darwin to Pine Creek, and was built from the Stocks Hill Wharf to the Pine Creek, and the railway line reached the Adelaide River in 1888 and was later extended to Pine Creek and reached Pine Creek in 1889. And when the federal government took over in 1911, federal government took over the Northern Territory in 1911. They promised to build the railway line from Darwin to Adelaide, and later the railway line was extended to Katherine, which reached Katherine in 1917 and reached Rima in 1927. So the railway line actually played an important role in the various phases of the economic development of the Northern Territory, and was also extremely used during the time of Second World War to transport the big machines and supplies, goods. So yeah, the railway line did actually play an important role in during the different time periods. Those yellow flower, they're called kapok, K-A-P-O-K, kapok. Very popular native bush. Now all the flowers is gone. Let's say the flowering season is over. Only that one have a little bit of flower. And they have the seed pods. Inside the seed pods, they have the fiber-like cottons. In early days, they are used to make the mattresses and pillows. Okay, not comfortable as today's mattresses and pillows. And turkey bush used as an insect repellent. And the indigenous people cross those leaves and the flowers of the turkey bush, take the oil out of it, rub them into their body, which does help to keep the insects away, sandflies, marsh flies, mosquitoes. Also used as a muscle soother to relax their muscles, blowing those leaves in the water, and in the warm water they relax their muscles. It's a medicine. And also the branches are used to make the hunting tools. And now have arrived at the historic town, Pine Creek. In 1870s, the workers of the overland telegraph line, they discovered the gold here in the Pine Creek. And the mining began, and the township, the town was built to service the mine. And now coming up to the left-hand side is the equipment from 1886. The lift railway equipment from 1886. As I said earlier, the railway line reached here in 1889 from Darwin. And all the area to the left-hand side, you can see the rail heritage to the left-hand side. So North Australian railway service to the left. And also the name was given by the workers of the overland telegraph line when they found the pine tree growing in the creek bed. And they gave a name to the place, Pine Creek. Flying foxes taking the tree down, the wire, electric wire. Yeah, that's how the name was given, Pine Creek, by the post hole diggers. Yes, large number of Chinese population were working here in this gold mine in the Pine Creek. They've been the major contributor for the success of the gold mine. The first group of Chinese came to Australia in early 1870s as an indentured laborers, and majority of them been assigned to work in the gold mine here at Pine Creek. And many of them assigned to work at the overland telegraph line and the railway line, and few of them been assigned to work at the public sector. So the Northern Territory has actually benefited a lot from the Chinese population. And as I said, they've also been the major contributor for the success of the gold mine here at the Pine Creek. Now the population of the small town of Pine Creek is now approximately 300 people.
So they're saying the wet season the crocs can get in here because the tide rises high. Oh, it's pretty. Doesn't look like we can get to the falls because it's too far to walk around in the short time we've got. Very warm.
It's kind of just
Yeah.
cooler. But it's
You know what? Hi everyone, well here I am in the Northern Territory. We're on a bus trip from Darwin to the Katherine Gorge and back to Darwin today, 15 hours, and currently we're at Edith Falls, which is in the background there, you'll see it. Most of the ladies and gentlemen on the bus have gone in the plunge pool, well in the water as you can see, but I can't be bothered, it's too hot to even think about getting changed. So you won't see me in there, but I just thought I'd do a little introduction and you will see this in a couple of weeks. So anyway, lots of flies starting to hang out now. It's going to be 40 degrees. Well, it's heading up there now. We're in Katherine in another 30 minutes and it's going to be 40 degrees. But it's actually not a really muggy 40 degrees down here. It's a hot 40 degrees, but the cloud isn't down. So it's not going to be very humid. So that's going to be one good thing about it. So you can see everybody in there. I'm trying out the new GoPro on a chest. I think I've probably covered half of it with taking videos with my camera. But anyway, and that's another view from that angle, which you'll get to see. I'll post a clip. That is Edith Falls through there. And it's all Aboriginal land. As we came in on the bus into the area, I asked the Aboriginal tribe in spirit for me to come on their land, and I also sent wishes to them. And I got a reply, I felt the reply saying, welcome to our land. So here I am. Darwin, funnily enough, is a a big town. It's not a city. It's really different to what I was expecting, but we're getting there, and the humidity's been so bad. We've been getting Ubers everywhere, going from one air conditioning place to the other. But I'm used to this particular heat. I can handle this particular heat as long as I'm not out in it too long. Okay, so hope you enjoy this video. After here, we're having lunch in Katherine. Then we're going on a 2-hour trip through the Gorge, which should be magnificent. Looking forward to that. That was the whole idea of this bus trip, coach trip. So anyway, we shall catch you later. Bye. I think I've come up the wrong road. Photographs were taken from the helicopters of the saltwater crocodiles swimming down the main street. And the Katherine region supports the area larger than Victoria. It is 337,000 square kilometres. It's a big area. Pine Creek was also in the Katherine region, lies in the Katherine region. The population is approximately 24,000 population of the Katherine region. The population of the small town of Katherine is approximately 10,500. Now coming up to the right hand side is the Katherine School of the Year. School of the Year was established in 1951.
These boats here, they have been deemed to be unsinkable, though I'm sure we've probably all heard that one before. So in case we do have a sinking feeling today, guys, the exit roads are every single one of them, just like the left or the right hand side. Front of the boat does look like a nice option as well. Wide open space at the front there, fairly decent run up down the middle. However, wouldn't recommend jumping on the front of the boat in an emergency situation, only because these boats aren't renowned for their braking abilities. So in the extremely unlikely event of an emergency, it will stick to the left and the right hand side. So the Arnhem Land Plateau, what it is pretty much a massive block of sandstone which stretches from here all the way through to Kakadu. Has anyone been to Kakadu yet? Yeah, most of you actually. So yeah, lots to see in Kakadu. Obviously you've got places like Maguk Falls, which is a really nice swimming spot. You've got a tour like this one over on Yellow Waters, the Billabong there. You can see a beautiful sunset over towards Ubia, where there's a lot of astounding rock art as well. So all of these locations, they are situated on top of this sandstone block. And so all we're doing today with these boats is simply driving them through the deepest series of fractures within it. So that's the river we're on today is the Katherine River. And so this river was named by an explorer called John McDowell Stewart back in 1862. So this Katherine River here, it is completely rainwater fed. So we're way too far inland to experience any sort of tidal effects here. So it is only purely rain that causes this river here to rise. Now we have had rain over the past few weeks, to be honest, and that is pretty early for us here. Normally we start to get rain during November, and it really picks up throughout January and February. These 2 months is where we get the majority of our monsoonal troughs passing over the top end, and rain typically begins to subside around April. So wet season's November through to April. On average, we get about 1,000 mil of rain during that time. Now, at that time though, of course, those rock bars are completely underwater. So the river flows uninterrupted for the 16-kilometre length of this system. Now, in order for the rainwater to cause this river here to rise, it does need to be landing over towards our catchment area. And so our catchment is located east of Kakadu, over in Arnhem Land there. And the catchment is just under 10,000 square kilometres in size. And so if you're unfamiliar with how a catchment area works, it is pretty simple. If you just picture putting a bowl under a running tap, once that bowl reaches the brim, it of course overflows. And when this happens in terms of the catchment area, it floods the surrounding river systems and creeks. So that catchment feeds the South and East Alligator rivers, the Liverpool, the Roper, of course this river as well, the Katherine, and then via the Katherine feeds the Daly as well. So the Katherine is one of the Daly's many tributaries. So pretty much any river system that flows southwest in the top half of the Northern Territory, more likely than not will end up flowing into the Daly. So the Daly takes the water from all of its tributaries and flows out into the Timor Sea in a place called Anson's Bay, which is roughly 150 kilometres southwest of Darwin. So when you have a look at this river system on a map, it does make a very sort of rough horseshoe shape across Australia's top end here. Now, when the river here rises, the rock bars of downstream of us go underwater, which means a lot of things can follow the river upstream into the gorge, and that's why we have to have traps like this one over on the left here in the first gorge. So that's for saltwater crocodiles. So how these traps work, there's bait at the back, so buffalo or pig. That bait is connected to a cable. That cable runs along the top of the trap where it connects to a pin, which holds that sliding section in the framework up. So as soon as the crocodile takes that bait, try to pull on it, in turn it'll pull that cable and that pin out, that sliding section closes, and that's how that trap works. So this is a crocodile management zone, otherwise we wouldn't have traps. The reverse is true as well. If there's a salty in here, it can't escape. So that's what parks look for during these surveys. So for about 6 weeks, what Parks and Wildlife do is low-level helicopter flights. Try to spot powerboat. We're driving it straight over this rock here on our left-hand side. So that's, yeah, probably about a 7 to 8 metre river rise on top of what we have at the moment. It's pretty hard to tell what direction this river is flowing this time of year, because the flow is pretty weak relative to what it is in the wet season. If you look over to the right-hand side there, you'll see all of those trees, they're leaning in one direction. So they're leaning downstream, which they're forced over by the strength of the current when the river's that high. So river can flow anywhere between 30 to 40 kilometres an hour in the wet season. Now another indicator of river level heights are the beaches that you see through here. So either side of us you've got the sand. These are deposits by this river in the wet season. So as this river rises, of course starts to climb the riverbanks, and so sand and sediment gets deposited in a low energy zone. So low energy is just a part of the river that's sheltered from the flow. Do have that walk coming up in a second, so it won't be too long before I have to ask you to just hop back into your seats for me just for a moment. But so in Jivin law, when two people share the same skin name, they are considered family beyond blood relation. So that does of course mean two people with the same skin name cannot be in a relationship with each other, as it is forbidden by the law system. So there's Jedda's Rock here on the left. Now if you have seen the movie, there is a scene with Jedda's Rock in it, straight intersecting fracture lines. So if you were to look at this area from a bird's eye view, we like to use the mango analogy to describe what this place looks like. So you know when you prepare a mango to eat, you cut the cheek off the mango, score the crisscrosses in the flesh, and you push the flesh out with your thumbs to reveal the blocks. From the sky looking down, this is what this place looks like, and that's what I can point out for you here. Now over on our left hand side, you can see this split, this fracture in the cliff face with all the ferns growing in it. So that's called a partial fracture or a partial subgorge. Now a true subgorge is a fracture that's opened up. So you can see a true subgorge upstream on the right. So all the way up the other side there, you can see a subgorge with all the trees growing in it. Now this subgorge on our right that's opened up, this partial subgorge on our left which is closed, they run along the same fracture line or the same slice in the mango. The river just flows between that subgorge on the right, this partial fracture on the left, through the deepest section of the fracture. And we've just made our way up to this point following a fracture as well, which you can see continuing in front of us, being this subgorge here in front. And that subgorge pairs up with a corresponding one downstream. So back towards Jedda's Rock, just where we came from. So you'll see, looking downstream now to the right, the corresponding subgorge. So there you have the criss and the cross for that mango analogy. All we're doing today with these boats is simply driving them through the deepest of these fractures, where the river itself flows through this system. So bird's eye view, you can see that sort of grid formation of all these intersecting fracture lines.
How deep is it here?
So on average, river level 6 to 12 metres deep. Last time I'd look on the sounder, river was a bit higher than this, but it was about 15 metres in this corner. But does change very quickly. So this section is just 3 days. So this occurred in January of 98. Now the river level here got to about 2 metres above that smaller cave there on the left. So yeah, pretty much the gorge was 3/4 full. So that put the township of Katherine pretty much completely underwater. People were taking refuge on top of their houses and businesses, waiting for mates to pick them up on their tinnies or the army to come through and rescue them. Now that 98 flood was considered a once in 100-year flood event, so there's been nothing like it recorded on record, but of course the Jarwin, they've been here for thousands of years, so it does make you wonder if they've seen equivalent level floods to the 98 flood before, or perhaps even bigger floods over the years.